Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you, Molly.
We have a lot of questions today. I'm excited to ask.
All right, but before you do, we have a little continuation of the monologue. So, give us a moment. The idea is to remember in this exchange, this day of your time, in this transmission, are two of the principles that we have discussed over the years that we have been communicating with all of you. Number one, remember, it is not about what happens that matters. It is about what you do with what happens that makes the difference in your reality. Number two, the fourth step of the formula: to stay in a positive state no matter what occurs, even if it is objectively out of alignment with what you prefer. By staying in that positive state, it will allow you to extract a benefit from it. So staying in that positive state, remembering that it's all about your response to what is going on that makes the difference, are vitally important at this time for you to remember with regard to the subject at hand of this transmission. Now, let us remind you that when we spoke in Sedona, in that transmission, and we referred to female and male energies, we were talking about energies, not necessarily the idea of specific people. We allowed you to make that interpretation. Even though sometimes those energies can be applied to specific people, our purpose, as we have just said, in making what appeared to be a political observation, a political statement, was for the purpose of taking a reading on the pulse of your population in terms of your response and reaction to what was said. The idea, therefore, is that our Interstellar Alliance Council has now been in deep discussions for quite some time, since that transmission, about the differences that may occur in the upcoming years with regard to contact, not based on any political elections on your planet, but on your responses to the comments that were made. So the idea to understand is, while contact is still going to occur, is still inevitable within the next 5 of your years, we gave you that window of 5 years because there was movability, flexibility within that window. Due to reactions and responses that we received and picked up and observed in the collective energy of your society with respect to the comments that were made in our transmission, we have determined that there is now a high degree of probability that what we first suggested would occur at the end of your 2026 and the beginning of your 2027 may now occur somewhere more around your 2028 or 29. Because we now have to assess exactly, based on what we have picked up from all of you, exactly how and why contact will occur on your planet. It will still happen, but the reasons for it, the style of it, may change somewhat due to our observation and assessment of information that people on your planet are capable or not capable of handling. Remember, as we just said in the initial monologue, we did not give you a political opinion. We gave you a reading of the energy that exists at this moment with regard to the idea of whether or not male and female energy will move forward in a balanced way in your society or an imbalanced way in your society. The most important thing that we can say at this time is this. We will put it in these terms. You have entered the age of what you term the oligarchs. The people that you choose to put into positions within your governments that you elect are not the people that are, in your terms, running things. It almost does not matter who you have elected, for there are many things going on behind the scenes that will come out in certain ways at certain times that will allow you to recognize how your world is really run and allow you the opportunity to work together, to talk to each other, to finally communicate instead of divide, instead of being divisive, instead of sticking to your own opinions, instead of basing them on fears, to finally break down the barriers and allow yourself not to be on one side or the other of the glass wall that creates the splitting prism, but to be the glass wall, to allow communication to flow in both directions, to get at the crux of the issues deep down and to not be afraid to talk to each other, to discuss with each other, to learn from each other, to hear each other, to commune with each other. Remember, you are all on the same planet, even if you are in different realities. We have talked about the idea of multiple variations of Earths, so do not be confused by this phrase. The idea in your minds is that you have one world, and it can be experienced that way even if you are in different realities as individuals. It can be experienced positively as one world if you allow yourselves to begin to truly talk with one another, to communicate with one another on a deeper level, to go around and get past your fears of what the others in your lives may think, may believe. It's about the idea of being willing to open up communication and making that the most important thing in your reality so that you can express your true self-empowerment as you move forward toward open contact. So even while our interstellar alliance is having a discussion on our end about how, where, when, and why contact will occur, inevitably, in your realities, all of your realities, the idea is that you must also convene discussions, communications, and have consensus on a very important level, regardless of the differences you may have in your perspectives. It's all right to be different. It's all right to have different points of view. It's all right to be yourselves, but you must make sure that those perspectives and those points of view are not coming from negative or fear-based beliefs. Find within each other the positive aspects of each other's perspectives. Learn, talk, discuss. Do not be afraid. Be open, be kind, be gentle. This is the most important thing. And to that end, as the presentation in Sedona initially of the description of how open contact may occur was the 7th step in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment, this is the 8th step. The learning to talk, the learning to communicate, the learning to dig down and to not be afraid, to share, to discuss, to see what is truly in your heart of hearts and how you have more in common than you think. Allowing yourself to come together, to move together, and to move forward in this way will allow open contact to occur in the most positive and constructive and beneficial way possible. Because it is, at this point, no matter what, it is inevitable. For there are many reasons for it to be so. Now, we will say one more thing before you begin your questions. The 8th step also includes a brief communication at the end of all of your questions today. Not before, but at the end. So you will let us know when your questions are done, when your timing is up. We will introduce briefly an entity from the Interstellar Alliance that we have never introduced before. In our language, this entity is known as Ashaya. It translates roughly into your language as the Oracle. The Oracle will deliver an oracular comment at the end of all your questions today. And part of the 8th step, and pay attention to this, it is vital, is that when this comment, when this oracular transmission is delivered, it will not be explained, it will not be interpreted by us, it will not be clarified beyond what is said by us. This will be left up to you. This will be another test, another observation of how you decide in working together to interpret what the Oracle will have said. When this transmission occurs, it will be repeated 3 times. We would strongly encourage you to actually write down what the Oracle will say, so that there will be no confusion and no misunderstanding of the actual wording of that transmission. But the interpretation, the clarification, the understanding or misunderstandings will be left up to you to have, and ideally will spur conversations among you, not only with those who may believe and see as you do, but with those who do not. To truly understand that you are in the same boat, all of you. There is something bigger than all of you, something bigger than your political divisions that is about to occur in your reality, that is coming up in the near future, that has to do with the ramifications of what contact actually means on your planet. And like I said in the initial monologue, the fact that we have made a comment you perceive as political will not be done again. We will now focus only on the idea of what you need and what you require and how you will benefit from understanding more clearly the information that we have delivered to you for many years about things like the principles of the formula and how you can create your reality to be more in alignment with your true essential frequency. For there is no more point and no more readings and no more observations that need to be made. The Interstellar Alliance Council has all the information it needs now to make an assessment of exactly how, when, and why contact will occur. And when we talk about the idea of open contact, we mean simply for those portions of your civilization that have not been experiencing what you would call public open contact in its history for quite some time. We have already reminded you that there are many indigenous civilizations and cultures on your planet that have been experiencing contact for generations. So when we talk about the idea of open contact, we mean for the entirety of the cultures on your planet, for no one to be left out and nothing to be left out. So allow yourselves to rest easy, to take a deep breath, to move forward in peace, in love, in harmony, and again, most importantly, in communication. To talk with one another, to be okay with differences, but to not be insistent or resistant or headstrong about your point of views. Find the deep commonality between why anyone with any perspective desires what they desire. For the real reasons, the true underlying reasons, aside from the political or social or economic expressions of them, or even the religious expressions of them, the true underlying reasons will unite you. It is important for you to be united in approaching open contact. For again, when it occurs, we will be involved in every aspect of your society, every single one. You will interweave with us. We will interweave with you to become one society eventually. That is what joining your galactic family means. So, be prepared, be aware, be awake. So now I remind you the two principles: staying in a positive state, and it's how you respond to what happens that makes a difference. In some senses, in addition to what the oracle will say at the end of these questions, will mostly be the answers to any question you have in this transmission of a political nature. So be prepared for extremely brief responses to any question that may concern your politics, because we have already addressed, in whatever way we need to, the idea of anything you may be asking that has to do with your elections and your politics. So pay attention to what we've already said, because those are your answers, and those are the only answers we are going to give from this day forward with regard to that particular topic. So please now, if you will, in return for the gift you are giving us of allowing us to hold your hands together, walking forward toward contact, in return, how may I serve you? Please ask your questions at this time.